What up, Jay?
What up? We got a square right here, a third square,
Yeah, I'm excited.
and he's not square. I promise you that. Welcome everybody to episode 44, and we have a guest on here, and I'm excited to talk to this guest. So this is Mike Salemi. He is a coach, and I will speak to that from personal experience for a little bit. So, Mike, it was last year that I
Yeah,
met.
yeah. I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, last year in February, I decided to work with Mike, and it was because it came from a very random occurrence where I attended Mark England's little it was a brief class on story work, and
Mm.
I was like, oh my God, I need to know more about this. And as we know, if I like something, I'm obsessed with it. And so, and so
Not at all.
no, that doesn't happen. Not one bit. Um, so I reached out to Mark and I was like, hey, do you do one-on-ones? And he was like, no, I don't really do that, but I can direct you to somebody who does. And I was like, oh yeah, I would love to. Because in the seminar or the workshop, he did this story work, which Mike does, and I remember observing and just crying. And I was like, oh, okay, this is hitting home. I need to know more about this. And so he connected me with Mike. And then I started working with Mike. I think I worked with you for, I want to say like 2.5 months.
Mm.
And we did some like real deep story work, which Mike can explain more of. Um, and my experience of it was it helped me release so much like intense emotional energetics from my past.
Mm.
And it was also super powerful because I love what Mike does. He creates this structure, yet it's flowy. So it's like a beautiful marriage of the masculine and feminine energy.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I'm super grateful to have you on here. So, Mike, you wanna introduce yourself?
Yes, absolutely. First off, though, like what an honor it was and is just to one now call you a friend and to support you with the tools that I have. Like one of the things, and we've talked about this on the session, so I'm just bringing this up now, but like at least dives deep. Like at
Yes.
least like I'm like, let's go. And so
Uh-huh.
I just loved your willingness, your curiosity, your depth, your vulnerability. And, even though I'm facilitating the session, I'm a human being too. And working with you is like super inspiring. Like, fuck, all
Oh,
right, okay. And so, I mean, really is a relationship in and out of session. So I just really appreciate you just showing up in the way that you do. And it was like a huge, 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 just pleasure, joy, inspiration, all the above.
oh,
Um,
thank you, Mike. I appreciate you. And
yeah.
receive that. I really do.
Mm,
I'm
mm.
receiving it right now. So good. Nourishment.
One funny thing is, so when you had said on the beginning of the call to like Lindsay, like, okay, we got another square on this. So I would say like from the outside in, especially growing up, most likely people would have looked at me or perceived their projection on me that Mike's a square, like in this. But
Mm.
then the more, and Lauren and my wife Lauren, like we joke about this all the time. She's like, man, if people really like knew you or like just spend time with you, they would get to see like, you don't got all your shit together, or you leave the wet clothes out, or there's many things that I'm into that I would say are like not so square. But
Mm.
yes, I've the perception of, I think many people historically is like, oh yeah, this dude's a square, this dude's vanilla. And then, but no, I love really quote unquote going deep or exploring and being curious. And I fucking love the work that I get to do. Like, and I say that from the deepest part of my heart. I get to do this work. And like what an honor.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, there was one, well, there's several moments of like, it felt like a core memory moment with you of like, we created statements at the end of the story work that would promote me connecting
Mm.
with my own love, my own power, anything along those lines. And I remember one of them was like, I fuck with life. Was that it?
Yeah, yeah, I fuck with life. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't remember how we got there, but I do remember like loving that statement so much of it hitting my core and being like, yes, I fuck with life. Yes. Yeah. Mike, what do you do? Tell us about what you do, who you be
Oh
inside of your
man.
work.
Oh man. It's a simple question, but truly like, because even it seems like every few years, like I'm an insatiable learner. Like I love learning. I love much like you ladies. Like I love learning. I love surrounding myself with inspiring people. And even if it's just being in their presence, like there's something that gets transmitted, my experience through osmosis when we're around people who are living like who are just being them. And so even some of the greatest mentors that I've had, yeah, it was definitely like there was a technical aspect of tools and skills and reps. And it was so much in just how they lived or how I felt in their presence that's the things that I remembered most. And so, I mean, to answer your question, I would say to paint just a brief picture, I've most associated most of my life as being an athlete. I was as a teen in the teenage division. I was a world champion in the sport of powerlifting. In 2017, the national sport of Russia is called gear voice sport, and it uses we use two heavy ass kettlebells. We lift them for 10 minutes without setting them down, and in that sport, in one organization, I was a world champion as well. And so, sports, athletics, performance, that type of challenge has been such a teacher for me. And then being a performance coach, that's a lot of where my base started. But then as I started continuing coaching more and more, I started realizing, wow, like the physical is important. Like it truly is. And it was really what I owe a lot of, my like early development and going through my own rites of passage. But then I started realizing, oh my gosh, there's so much more to this. Like the challenges that I'm experiencing in relationship or my diet. I had fungal and parasite issues for years, stomach ulcers, all of these things. I was like, there's so much more to this equation than outside of what happens in the gym. And so that took me down a path of just working with different mentors, learning different tools. And so today, to sum it up, largely my work focuses on supporting men who have achieved. I mean, I work with all types of guys, but I would say the most that I work with is men who have achieved some level of success, whether it's largely like financial or in their work or in their job. But as a result of being that ambitious, competitive, winning oftentimes at all costs, like I did that in the sports realm, and that's why I got injured a lot of times, it's come at a cost. And
Mm.
so they may be badasses and, the car they drive and they built big businesses, which is phenomenal, great. And as a result of over indexing on that part, they may have found they're disconnected to their relationship.
Mm.
Their wife just wants them to be more vulnerable. I hear that a lot. Like my wife wants me to be more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And they're running gas pedal down, not going slow enough to pick up some of that. And it causes pain and it causes challenge. The other big thing is body challenges. So injuries, bodies falling apart.
Mm.
Um, so that's like in some, like I support men in general. Um, and hopefully, if I'm doing my job right, I'm helping them help themselves. Like I'm providing the structure, the container. I'm definitely playing a part. I think for a long time I was like, it's not me. It's not. It's like no. Like now I realize like I do play a role in the process, and my ultimate goal is to create a solid space, a solid structure for the movement of life force, energy, feelings, emotions, sensations, and for hopefully them, like what you said, and I can share a bit on that later, but
Mhm.
for them to come up with their own ahas, realizations, affirmations that they create, not necessarily that if there is an affirmation involved that they read in a book or that someone else wrote. It's like No, that affirmation of I fuck with life, that came after, I don't know, an hour and 90-minute story that
Mm.
hit, and we worked it and worked it and worked it and breathed and got space in it. And then what was distilled down, because words carry meaning, like actually, I mean, in your words, like really hit you and affected you. And so that's more or less what I do. My stab at what I do.
Just a little bit of what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lindsay, did you have any? It sounds like it feels like you have a question. Or am I
Just
wrong?
wow.
Yeah, just wow.
I love this. I love that you're facilitating this. And I guess the question that comes to mind is like, what would you say is like aside from the wives or the girlfriends saying, I want him to be more vulnerable, um, what would you say is like the biggest symptom or the biggest story that your clients come to you with?
Hmm,
That's a great question.
that is a great question.
So I'll share maybe the more symptom, like like what they'll like verbally say, and then it's through like the digging process that we actually feel like
Yeah.
what are they either having difficulty articulating, or what are they not even connected to, or what's in the blind spot. But there's many men, like most of the men, at least that I experience coming to my work, like they're really trying.
Mm,
Like they're really trying. They may have their own stuff and their histories and their baggage and all of that. But by and large, like the men that I see, they're all good men doing their best. And there's a common sentiment is like, no matter what I do, it's not enough.
mm,
Like the feeling of like, fuck, no matter how much I provide, no matter what I'm doing, it's just not enough. And that comes out a lot. And there's plenty of stuff under that. That's a really, really common one. I think many men, one of the ways that I'm like super generalizing, but one of the ways that we experience love is through respect.
mm,
However, we like whatever we deem that to be. And so when we feel disrespected, like, I don't know, for the decisions we make, like my wife doesn't trust, like I'll just like my leadership, my wife doesn't trust, I feel disrespected in that. They may not have done anything major. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Maybe there was an infidelity or whatever, but a feeling of like, I don't feel respected or appreciated
mm.
for how much I'm doing, how much like that's a deep one. I'll share one or two more.
Can I
Um,
can I
yeah, yeah, fire off. Yeah,
contribute?
yeah.
Uh, when you say they feel like they're not doing enough, from just my experience, and I'm wondering your thoughts on this, is it because is it part of it because I know there's multiple things going on there, but one thing is like men tend to be more action oriented, and there's just this like myopic view of I have to do. And my wife or girlfriend or whoever is asking me to be more emotionally present. And it's
Mm.
almost like they don't know exactly what that means. Like the skill set maybe isn't there. And so there's a blind spot, like there's an unconscious thing going on that they don't recognize like it's actually not doing, it's the being.
My experience, that's a huge piece of it. And if I misspoke, I'm sorry. So my experience is it's not that maybe I said it, I don't know, but that men are not doing enough. It's just that nothing they do is enough. Like
Okay.
that thing, like no matter what I do,
Yeah.
still it's not enough. That's really the sentiment. And
Hmm.
I think that's a piece of it because like how do we learn, right? As not just men, but women too. Like all of us learn, especially as kids, what we see, what we hear, what we feel, and what we intuit.
Hmm.
And by and large, again, I'm super generalizing, but what is celebrated today is the grind, is you provide. Like I just did my last podcast on my show was all around covert contracts. So unspoken agreements. And when
Yeah.
I was first introduced to that from a mentor of mine, he was like, okay, come up with these unspoken agreements that you have in relation that you haven't like actually communicated to your wife or partners. And I started and like literally I could almost go to tears if I really feel into it right now. But I wrote the sentence of because I'm the main or the primary provider, and I meant financially in my family. We got a 3-year-old son, like Luca is his name. And what we've chosen, and my wife's just now starting to get more back into like incredibly talented, passionate, and we've decided that she really wanted to be there in this first part with our son, which is such a gift. And I wrote down uh, because I'm the main primary financial provider, and then that was the sentence stem. And
Mm.
Liz and Lindsay, like it blew me away. I almost wrote at least a half a page single space of
Mm.
everything that I wrote because I'm the main financial provider, just random stuff. Like I expect when I'm done in sessions, dinner should be ready. Because I'm the main financial provider, yet what I said earlier, you shouldn't question my decisions about spending or travel because, and I was like, oh my God. And one, it was super empowering because I was like, I had no idea that.
Yeah.
But then there's also shame that came with it because I was like, fuck, like I love my wife deeply, clearly, and I was like she has no idea. And all of these have their own energy signature.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
and so it opened up a really powerful discussion of like,
Mm.
okay, like this is what I'm bringing in. And so there's a major opportunity at the end. It brought us a lot closer. Um, I don't know if I answered the, oh, I think, can you repeat, if you don't mind, your question, the around, I think it was the
Yeah,
tendency for guys having difficulty feeling or something like that.
yeah, just like there's this maybe it's one of those unwritten contracts too. It's like when I do couples therapy with, men and women, heteronormative couples, it's like the woman is typically, like you're saying, I'm generalizing, but typically the woman's like, I really want to feel more emotionally connected to you. The
Mm,
guy is like, he's like, well, I'm doing all of these things for you. Like, I
mm,
don't, I don't get it. And it's almost like, it's like I get to go in and help these men. I'm teaching them a different language than what they grew up learning, which was like you're speaking to, like I need to do the things to provide, and that will make it a happy relationship, marriage, and that's all I need to do. But actually, that's not all you need to do, and it would be a detriment to you if that was all you did without going
mm.
into those deeper roots of the emotional connection, right? And so, yeah, I'm wondering your thoughts surrounding that and you working with men and connecting with them on that emotional piece.
Yes. I love it. Absolutely love it. I was just 2 hours ago, I was coaching a client who in like just high performer in business. And again, his wife has communicated multiple times, like she's craving, they've been married for quite a while, but she's craving vulnerability,
Mm. Mhm.
right? And his gas pedal is down, like not even down, like to the floor.
Mm.
And it's a pattern that's come up over and over and over in the years. And he's like, I want to, I just don't know why I have so much difficulty with it. Well, one, that was what was modeled to him in terms of like how can he create value in the relationship and what's valuable.
Yeah.
And what she's just craving is that connection, but he still has a resistance because what we got down to is there's a belief, like with many men, that and it's changing, but if
Mm.
I show vulnerability or if I show my heart, even to my partner or wife of 20, 30 years, then a part of me feels weak. So there's that piece, that learned belief. But then also like what we got down to, and he's going to be coming to the retreat, is like there's no space.
Mm.
There's no with if his gas pedal's down, going 100 miles an hour, and like, and I'll use, and we went through this list too. In some of my work, I'll use the lens of the Enneagram just to provide a language for some of these parts of ourselves, just to like bring something up to speak about. And what, part of what we see, especially in guys, is like the aversion to slowing down, and that can show up in that as well. But unless he's slowing down enough to create some semblance of space to be with himself, first and foremost,
Mhm.
like it's going to be impossible for him to slow down enough to be with her. And so the mindset that many men think that if I'm financially providing, then it's formulaic. Like to what you said, it's like if I do this, like this plus this equals this. And that's a really masculine lens. And
Mhm.
there's no juiciness in that.
No.
Um like I like there's no juiciness in that. And so like I don't think that really fosters intimacy. It might be able to create financial safety, which is okay, financial security, and they're like that's beautiful, but that's not what I'm hearing their wives or partners or whatever are craving. Like they're craving, we went through with him a praise practice, like a practice to for them to acknowledge each other each night for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and to give him a structure. Like men love structure generally, like they love structure, but
Hmm.
it also the structure provides the like a river, right? The banks of the river provide the structure for the flow of water and energy. And so um we gave him some simple practices for him to and get out the calendar. Like, yo, get out the calendar. If that's what you need, if that's what we got to do right now, like work this stuff in and actually time block this stuff. Because if it's really important to you, and like many men, these things are patterns that go on over and over. Um, like more of the same plus more of the same equals more of the same. And so, but without that slowing down, without creating space, I don't see much changing. Um, I think it's almost impossible from my experience, because we're on the loop over and over and over, and
I,
yeah, it's just the cycle.
mm, yeah. Yeah, and I'm just thinking about like what you said about slowing down and that's an issue for all of us. And it
Mm,
shows up differently, right, for each person and um but yeah, I agree with you. Like a prerequisite, if we had prerequisites set, it would be that there's a need to slow down and actually go internal and experience your own energy and experience like how do you actually feel
mm,
throughout the day?
mm,
Like, are you just on autopilot and not even checking in with yourself, which is unfortunately really easy to do, but then it just kind of explodes in your face eventually, right? Um, and so like slowing down, I would say being curious and also being patient in those
mm,
moments of curiosity, right? Because I know for me, like I can be very like mental, and the mental just wants to speed up, right? And that's
mm,
very masculine. But when I'm actually able to slow down and like you were saying, like that's where the juiciness is, that is totally where the juiciness is. Like that's the richness of life and being in your own experience, right?
yes.
Yeah.
As you were speaking, one thing that was coming up is like I'm just feeling into like the energy of this part of me, but also in a lot of these guys. Like there's a huge aversion to the word slowing down. like like there's just so sometimes I don't even say that, but what you shared about how can we integrate some of this from a practicality standpoint? How can we integrate some of this, at least to get the ball rolling, into what they're already doing
Yeah. Yeah.
in the day? So like even just being aware of if they're mouth breathing, just like breathe in and out through the nose, breathe light like a feather, like just some basic tools that don't add a ton more time that'll start regulating them, because
Mhm.
usually they're like dysregulated. And that's going to be the other really hard thing. If the I don't know, if the goal is to get give men more of the opportunity to be in their heart, if they're completely dysregulated,
Mm.
like then it can really turn performative. And another thing, like if I check this thing off, so it's like, what can we do during the day or in 3 minutes? Go outside, get your feet on the grass, if you want to do Wim Hof, do something to create some type of like just some type of pattern break, because then it's just not going to be as felt.
Yeah.
It's like it's very different than going through the motions of a praise practice, which is beautiful, than as opposed to like really looking your partner in her eye, maybe
Mm,
matching her breath, feeling your feet on the ground, and like letting both of your nervous systems to some extent co-regulate, and
yeah.
then delivering the praise from that place,
Mm.
like very different than rushing home, opening the door. Sweetie, I want to praise you for like uh
Uh-huh.
right. So I think it encourages and invites in just more depth with that. But to your point, like during the day can be a great time to access that
Mhm.
without it feeling like I need to create this major block to slow down, which most of them are going to have an aversion to.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I'm so glad that you brought up like the checklist and then the performative aspect.
Mm.
Um, because especially if you're in the pattern of doing, oh, okay, I did the thing. So now we're good, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But to truly slow down and really being, so much in my feminine, what I'm craving from a masculine partner is the providing of the safe space.
Mm.
I don't know if you can hear my dog. I apologize.
No,
Okay, good,
good.
good. The providing of the safe space of so that I can dance in my feminine, so that
Mm.
I can share my heart, so that I can be my spiritual self. Like that's one thing that I'm really being mindful of as I am searching for a partner, or just more so, not even searching for a partner. I'm going to say that I'm the flower and the bee comes to the flower. So I'm just going to be me and trust that that it's like the signal it's sending out there. Yeah. So
You're
would you say,
magnetizing. You're
yes,
magnetizing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
would you say, Mike, that you're mostly doing couple work, or do you mostly work with just male clients? Like, so because how this conversation is
Mm.
going, I'm like, this is so deep and interesting. And do you get some of the clients that are like, bro, what are you smoking? I'm done. Because you're really like talking at such a level of depth that I'm like, oh wow, like even the breath work that you were just talking about. I'm like, not many people would know what he's talking about. This is so great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like when oof, oh, this fires me up. Excites me. Uh like I think I'll speak first for like because I think it's also the in the context that I'll work with guys. So in the retreat, like I really do think like yeah, I'll guide it and create the structure, all that stuff. But I really do think number one thing is to create the container. And if anything, that's one of the things we can drill in
Mhm.
guys like just little stuff. Like we have a just as an example, like in the retreats we run in Mount Shasta, like there's a practice space, right? Like this is our sacred space, and my number one job is to make that space feel like a temple,
Mm.
right? And so, like when you're in it and you walk through the door, you can actually feel just like if someone were walking into a church. When
Mhm.
you walk into a church, like you don't just talk at the volume that I'm talking, right? You're like this is oh damn, like something's different in here. The way things are organized, the candles, like that, the more solid the container, the space, what I've really seen, it allows the depth to be even more. And we'll even do things to where like intentionally, like after I teach the concept of the space and the container, like how does it feel? Then the next day I might like flip over the corner of a blanket or knock over a candle, and I'll just do a few things, and then we'll let guys just sit and just notice and feel what's changed. Like, do you notice anything different? Does anything feel off?
Mm.
And like all of them be like, well, yeah, for some reason, like that candle that's on the floor and everything else is symmetrical is like disrupting
Yeah.
that. So I'm bringing all that up because in those spaces, like everyone's having their own experience, and I'm not in their body, so I can't pretend to know other than what they share and my intuition potentially what they're going through. But in the spaces, like those are really um what I really find is I don't really meet too much resistance because I think there's also like this is why I love men's work because it's so needed. But when
Mhm.
you've got 20 guys, and yeah, it might look funny, it might look weird, um, but it's like you got 20 guys doing it, and who are some have done some of this work, some are brand new, and I love one of the things, Lindsay, that excites me the most is I love like doing my best to play the part of a bridge. And so
Mm.
if I'm on a call with guys who's got no experience and he feels worded out, I'm like, dude, because I can, to the best of my ability, I can bro out with the best of them. Like I love training, just getting after it. Like I've got just my background in weightlifting. Like I love being that. But then I also absolutely love and get so much inspiration from just witnessing and being witness to a man's process and the courage that that can show. And so I don't see it too much because also there's so much modeling. Like as
Hmm.
soon as the first egg cracks, it's like, oh shit, that's this type of space.
Hmm.
Like when
Uh-huh.
if I lead this type of breath work called somatic release breath work, it's like as soon as the first release happens, it's like, oh damn, and that's what so many guys are craving. It's like, is
Yeah.
it like there's so much intensity in men,
Hmm.
so that's, and they don't, in my experience, oftentimes they don't know what to do with this intensity.
Yeah.
And so there's no pressure. Like I always say, like you guys got your foot on the gas and the brake the whole time, and I don't know what's going on in your body. And if something's coming up, invitation to let whatever, laughing, shaking, crying, whatever it is, like let it happen. And it is so, I got chills. It's so magical. And it's like once one opens and it's just like a whole thing. And then you just have a whole shift in the container. And so, like, yeah, I'm sure people do judge and all of that. And I don't know if it's just I don't focus on it too much or I just assume for it. And maybe they're just not for me or they're not ready for it in this time, and that's full respect. But I've been really blessed. And I take so my wife does she's amazing with hospitality. So at our retreat, she does all the food and cooks it from scratch. And I bring my son, who he's been to I think 7 retreats since he's only 3. And because I've really realized like this work or my version of this work is meant to be taken home. And I really want guys to see like we're doing our work separate, but like they'll pass my son on breaks, or I'll always encourage like take him for a walk, like throw him on your like
Hmm.
get that childlike energy. And also I really want to model and demonstrate like if it's not for this, like my putting my family downstairs, like if it's not for this, what the fuck is it for?
Mm.
So I do my best from just what feels authentic to me. And like the model of the retreat is lead from the middle. And that means like lead not only from our heart, but also from a place of like sometimes we have to step in the front and lead. And sometimes we take a back step so someone else can. Sometimes we go through it together and I'm with them in it. So all that to say is we've been really blessed, and my wife will attest, just amazing men
Mm.
have been attracted to this work that I get to lead. And yeah, I haven't really met too much on social media. Yes, sometimes, but not so bad.
Yeah. Dang.
It's
That's
admirable. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's inspiring. Um, every time I talk to you, Mike, I can feel my like a lot of younger versions of me just be like, whoa, like
Mm.
there's men like this out there.
Hmm.
Not to like hate on my brothers or dad, but as you know, Mike and Lindsay, growing up, like there was not a whole lot of emotional presence from
Hmm.
men in my life. And so it's been a beautiful experience for me to meet men like you and connect with y'all. And
Mm.
it's not your role to heal me, but just by being in y'all's presence,
Mm.
it heals something really important inside of me. And it helps me connect with my own uh, you know, masculine energy to hold my feminine so
Mm.
that she can just have that container and be who she is. And so a part of that is witnessing the external of men, seeing men engage in the way that you do. And yeah, I really respect what you do and appreciate who you are in it.
Mm. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're welcome.
thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah. Well, I know I have more questions. Um, Mike, I'm curious for you, like growing up, uh, if you, here's a question. If your younger self,
Mm.
like kid self, which he's here, right? Like he's with you. What is it like to think about your younger self seeing adult you be who you are and do what you do? What
Mm.
is that like?
So it's so funny you mentioned that because yeah, he's here, like he's
Yeah.
here with me. But
Uh-huh.
then also, so I have a, I don't know, this is like a desktop, so it's actually a pretty large screen here. But my entire, if I could, if I were to flip the screen or whatever, the entire background is me as an infant.
Oh, wow.
So it's just super meaningful photo. It's probably like I don't know, maybe a few weeks old, I imagine. Like, so I literally, like, as I'm looking at the screen of you, I can see part of my face that's not covered. And so it's really my reminder, like,
Mm.
nonstop in session to bring and connect to that childlike innocence in me and to carry him with me and to like hold him, like, through all of it, like, hold him. So, immediately off, I mean, off the top, like I'm just like, what is he thinking or what is he feeling? What is he saying to me is just what two things. I'm so fucking proud of you
Mm.
and thank you.
Mm.
And like, and he's, so I have a few items on my desk that are like really like my totems to anchor.
Mm.
And um, yeah, I just carry him with me. He's like, he is like, he's my teacher. And also on a related note from what we talked earlier, not to deviate too much, but this year, what I've gotten really clear on for my own work with myself is not that I won't keep taking courses, right? Like I'll for sure do that and do my own group work and that. But for my birthday at the end of December, my wife gifted me 4 days out in the mountains just by myself. And I came back just like so deeply nourished. She's like, wow, like, how often do you think you need something like this? Because my tendency has always been to pedestalize, look outside, seek answers.
Mm.
And where I'm at right now in life and what I've gotten the clear message for this year is to like put a pause on a lot of that and
Mhm.
to really go inward and connect to that little boy, the wisdom that's already inside me
Yeah.
and can get really clouded by taking the courses, doing all this stuff. And so it was so cool. She goes, we were going to dinner when I came back. It was the night of my birthday. And she's like, wow, like hearing my experience. She's like, how often do you think you need something like this and want something like this? And I was like, well, like, I mean, once a year would be amazing.
Mm.
Once a year would be amazing to do a real solo retreat and do how I crafted it. And then I said, like, with hesitation, I was like, maybe two times, like, because I know what it requires. Like, we got a dog,
Yeah.
I was like, it's like maybe twice. And she just like looks at me and she's like, how about we double that? And I
Oh.
was like, boom, like that's what, that's a call up. And I just feel so blessed that, she's got my back in that regard. And so now we've scheduled 3 solo retreats this year. One I'm going in 2 weeks, the next one, so first week of April.
Nice.
And the whole goal is, and on that last retreat, I just had a lot of baby photos. I should get set me up with a bunch of photos. So what you were sharing like really brings up a lot because so much of that is the inspiration for even these solo trips.
Mm.
And yeah, it's really important for me. At least I'll pause there.
That's beautiful.
Mm.
What a gift.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, Lindsay, did you want to say anything before I jump in?
Um, it, how do I phrase this? I love my brain so much. I choose to speak myself. My mind is like blown. I'm like, oh, men out there exist like this. This is great.
They sure
And
do.
you're facilitating and teaching. Like the ripple effect that you're creating is amazing. And it's just thank you for showing up
Oh, thank
and
you.
doing this. Um, so many people say that they don't want to get into a relationship, or when they get into a relationship, they don't want to lose the independence. But what it is that you're talking about is personal autonomy.
Mm,
Hmm.
So, can you speak a little bit about that? Like going on these solo retreats to nourish and nurture yourself so that you can show up and be a better partner.
yeah, it's beautiful. I love it. Because even when I got back, my wife and I did a podcast talking about this because I was also really curious to hear her perspective on that. Like, why did she choose to gift that, knowing
Mhm.
everything that's on her plate? And she really she the second thing surprised me. Well, we'll see. But what you had shared around, like, she's got a lot of awareness around what you exactly said. Like, she knows that, like, when I'm good and I'm taking care of myself and I'm rested,
Mhm.
and I would say the same for her too, for sure. When I'm good and I'm rested, like, my capacity to hold her, to when I come out of my office, to be fully present with our son, the energy, the enthusiasm, the playfulness. That's one thing she's really um, been asking a lot more of, over the
Mhm.
years. And that's something that I've had. There's a big playful part of me. And the story I've created is, and learned growing up, is I can only play once I've
Mm.
done my homework or earned the
Oh,
thing
yeah.
or what. And so she's been a huge inspiration, mirror, whatever you want to say, to really showing me, like, you can have it all and play doesn't have to be earned. But she's really been a major advocate, and just by way of her being her and the work that she's done. So I would say she understands that. And it's also something that I don't take lightly.
Mhm.
Like, I really do feel and know how much she's sacrificing so I can have this experience. Or if I'm going to even participate in a men's retreat, and there's just, like, one of our core values as a family is respect. And so, like, we both hold that in a super high regard. So I'll reciprocate in many ways. There's many ways I can try to do that. Like, for example, when I'm on a retreat, like, let's say I'm participating in a retreat, one of the best pieces of advice my mentor gave me is, like, how can you allow your partner to feel held even when you're physically away?
Mm.
Now, I might fix certain things around the house or clean certain rooms that haven't been cleaned before, or leave her some notes, or I'll send her a meal delivery when I'm away. So at least she feels connected to me even though I'm gone. And so we've just, and continually, like, this didn't start like this, and we're still learning for sure. But there's such a mutual gratitude, appreciation, respect, and an understanding of, like, fuck, man, like, you're going to bat for me because I need this. And so, like, that is, I think, what for me, how I really experience love, and I don't take it for granted. And, like, she's going on her personal retreat this weekend, so
Mm.
she's getting her thing, and I'm taking Luca. And the other thing that she said, and she validated this on the show, was, she was like, how did she word it? I'll do my best, but I think she was just really giving voice to what I just shared. She's like, I know you're not like clearly, like, infidelity isn't an issue, but you're not fucking around. Like, you're going on this retreat for you, and you're going to love, like, work on the things that I've shared I was there to work on and explore, and um and heal. And so, like, she trusts me. I would say she trusts me. That's the big thing. She trusts me. She knows, like, I'm not trying to escape. Like, maybe there's part of me that wants an escape because of just wanting to be in nature, right? But, like, she knows what I'm up to and where my heart is and what I'm committed to. And so she says, like, it's not easy in the sense of what it requires on her, but it's an easy gift to give. And it's one of those things that I would have had a lot of trouble giving to myself. And so for her to gift it was
Mm.
just like meant even more. And I told her, I was like, this is one of the most special gifts I think I've ever received from you, because I don't know, there would have been a lot of guilt if I would have asked. And so her only request is like the energy was like, go for it. If you're going to do this, like, fucking go for it. Like, eat the full cake. Like, and yeah. So I think that's really at least our dynamic that we're striving to keep cultivating is the energy of that.
That's beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah, I haven't met Lauren yet, but I remember in a session with you, you telling me the story about how you were in the kitchen one day after sessions and you were like berating yourself for some sort of mistakes, right? And do you want to tell it? Like,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah. I know exactly what
that
moment you're
still
talking
sits
about.
with, I still tell clients that
Wow.
story. So, yeah.
So I realize my like whole face is blown out over here. Let me just
You're
move this forward.
shining,
I'm
Mike.
shining. Yeah. Um, so and this is also, I mean, speaking for myself for sure, for context, but most of the guys, I'd say I've actually only maybe 3% of men I don't experience have a real issue with this, but their inner critic, like how hard they are and I am on myself for stuff, on the expectations we hold for ourselves. And so, especially early on in our relationship, like I would actually go to the extent of like, I'll talk shit to myself inside, but I would actually talk it outside. And sometimes it would just be so unconscious. Like I'd get done with teaching a workshop in this scenario or sessions, like, fuck that up. Like, why you? And she would know, like, I'll do certain somatic things, like with my breath, like, and it'll just come out. And I've gotten better in allowing myself to have that. And like, I could be really mean to myself. And so I had said something like to the effect of under my breath, like, what the fuck do you do that? You fucked that up, dude. Damn it. And she literally stops me face to face, square, and she goes, please don't talk to my friend that way.
Hmm. Yeah.
And it was just like pattern, like
Patience.
boom. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, damn. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. And so she's been yeah, she's been like instrumental for my process of awareness, and like, and a lot of that is even like working that into even how, like how I guided you or guide guys, like really getting intimate with this voice, and and learning to befriend it, and like or call it on its bullshit, or be curious and ask it questions. But that moment was like a super defining moment in me starting to develop a new relationship with that part of myself, and having it come from her, who, like, she's got her stuff, I've got my stuff, and like she in the Enneagram she's a type 2, so like very heart, I mean very heart driven, like you, Liz, and so like feeling her, and like again the transmission of it and where it was coming from,
Mhm.
like really being a loving advocate, like, I love you so fucking much that I'm going to be a stand for you,
Yeah.
and don't talk to my friend. That I was like, okay,
Mic drop.
yeah, like, okay, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. It's powerful.
Mm,
Powerful to have I mean, a partner community that will literally stop you and be like, hey, like, I see you
mm,
and I see what you're doing to yourself. Like, can we talk about this? Because it
mm,
hurts me to see you in this place,
mm,
right? I think that's a powerful combination of like holding accountability through through love.
mm.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
Mm,
Mike, for you, I'm curious. Like I work with men and you know, I've worked with men for many years. Like I started with the domestic violence prevention program and working with men who were court mandated to go through a 26-week group to really face like the domestic violence that they were creating in their homes. And something, and I was like 20, 21 years old, and I walked in with these preconceived notions of who these men were. Like these are monsters. And
Mm,
then by like a year into it, I had these moments where I saw these men speak to their experience and then speak to their history growing up
mm,
in their home and seeing domestic violence and I caught these glimpses of these men as boys, and it
mm,
completely broke through any distorted beliefs that I had about these men because they were not monsters. There's nobody's monster. um but that really helped me as a therapist soften to
mm,
men and not come into sessions with like my own like protective walls up
mm.
because anybody could sense that, and then it's hard to work when you're protective and then the other person's like, oh shit, I need to be protective. And I'm curious for you how it's been to work with men and the challenges that you've experienced, both like with the men working with them, but also like it triggering or eliciting things inside of you from your own history.
Oof, that's good. That's good. That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. So, okay. So prior to sessions, I have a prayer that I say, and super, super short, but one of the sentences, three sentences, one of them is, please return me to childlike innocence.
Oh,
So it's like that, there's like three anchors that I have. And so I know, and I've shared this multiple times with my wife, like if I am connected to my heart, that's the only fighting chance I have to connecting with their heart.
yeah.
So, how I regulate myself and where I'm at in that session is like number one. So, like how I prep, where I'm at energetically, the buffer I have in between sessions, like that is, I've found like now it's before I used to stack, and it's rare that I'll stack back to back, but it does happen sometimes. But I've just realized, and I've seen the quality of my, whether they can pick up it or not, I don't know, but I can. The quality of my presence, and maybe if I pop out for a moment or like, I can be way more locked in with someone if I'm grounded, regulated in my breath. And then with my, like my prayer, it's like, return me to childlike innocence. That's where that, I mean, that's why I have him myself on the screen behind me. So that helps a lot. Um, and I'm still human.
Yeah.
So, and I have a, I have a heart, and things bring up, and it brings up stuff for me in session. And that's honestly where, like, selfishly, maybe a part of me why I'm also in this work is just really how much
Mm.
it's helped me work on my own shit. And
Yeah.
um it would be total lie to say that I don't like, stuff doesn't come up, or I don't learn about aspects of myself, or what the this client's story hits something in me that reminds me of something when I was a kid. I think a skill that I've gotten better at and still practice is like really like noticing that part, like noticing that part, but also like getting good enough to not lose myself in that part.
Mm.
So like, oh, okay, I can like, I can see this coming up, or like, man, like I'm starting to get triggered about what he's saying about what he did to a woman or whatever it is, and my values and all of that. And then again, it goes back to like being aware of it. Okay, grounding the fuck down, like feet. I'm sorry, I'm saying so many f bombs. My apologies.
No, it's welcome.
Yeah, okay, okay. So I was like, ladies have been clean tonight. And I'm like, and then
Oh, we need
the
to say
square over
fuck
here
more.
is, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The square is like
You
breaking the
clearly
mold.
you need to listen a little bit more because I drop it all the time.
We
Okay,
we
okay,
say
okay.
fuck quite a bit, I would say.
Okay, okay. Fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, but I think a lot of it is really the sensitivity to being aware of like what's arising, how to ground myself. But then also like I'm not processing in session. Like I'm
Yeah.
really okay, like note in the pocket, okay, ground, connect to the heart, all that stuff, and then afterwards tend to that part of me.
Yeah.
Um, and
Oh,
that's
I'm sorry. I have to interrupt. I'm so
yeah,
glad that
yeah.
you just said that because as a facilitator and going to other workshops and other retreats and I'm witnessing the facilitator process in the moment and I'm like, you just lost me.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
I'm so glad and I have so much respect for that and thank you for giving voice to that like as the facilitator you are creating safe sacred space and you have to say okay mental note I'm going to pocket that mental note. Yep. And Liz and I have this debriefing after our workshop so that we can, bring that up.
mm.
That's our safe sacred practice so that if we are triggered, we get to then, you know, process it afterwards. So thank you for vocalizing that.
You're welcome. I think I mean, it's also, I mean, selfishly and unconsciously, I think it's part of why I got into this work is to help myself too. So there's like,
Right.
What,
there's,
Mike? That's
yeah,
so weird that
yeah,
you would do that.
yeah.
I'll
Um,
join you in that. I'm right there with you. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And that's where it's like, it's really, and it is generative too. But and I've learned this through the hard way for sure. Like most of the stuff has come through like the pain teacher showing up, but this is now something that we do at the retreats with usually there's like three or four other facilitators and actually every night we have a debrief. And so every
Nice.
night like okay, where's each participant at? Did, it's 20 guys ish, 15 to 20 guys, like I don't have my pulse on everybody. And so it's like what did you feel like, anybody struggling, what's coming up for you, is there anything we got to talk through? And sometimes guys like I'm fucking triggered, like this dude just like okay, cool, let's work with it. And so it could be brief, it could be a 5 minute talk at the end of the night, could be an hour, but that I think is really helpful so the next day we can go in again ready to serve, like clear our shit, and each guy like knows how to do his own practices as well. And there is that, just we're here to serve each other too. It's like, what do you need, brother? Like, I'm
Yeah.
here for it. Um, so that's something I love hearing, that it super resonates. And since we started doing that, I've just seen like the quality of it. It just gets, each time it gets a little deeper, a little deeper. The bond between facilitators gets a little tighter.
Mm.
And it's like, I know this motherfucker's got my back. And so,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I can start something and due to his skill set, which is way different than mine, like
Mm.
he can pick it up for me, or like that's what I love in facilitators. Like we all like
Yeah.
yeah, support each other.
It's a dance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like Liz and I experienced that too. Like there are some moments where I start something and then like she steps in. I'm like, oh, good, because I was losing steam, bro. Thank you. Okay, great. I can take a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super helpful. And I love it too. I mean, as you know, Mike, like growing up an athlete, like if you did a team sport and now
Mm.
you're doing this work, it feels similar. It's like, oh, my teammates got my back. Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Um, let's see. I wanted to just briefly, I know we have a little bit of time left. Um, I wanted to touch on, well, I have a question for you, Mike, but I also am wondering, is there anything that you wanted to talk about that we haven't talked about yet?
No, I'm loving the flow. Like,
Okay.
yeah, no, I'm
Sweet.
super juiced, fired up. Like, yeah, no, I'm loving it.
Okay. Can we go into some story work a little bit?
Sure. Yeah.
Can you describe it like if nobody knew about it that is listening, how would you describe it?
Yeah. So beautiful. So story work, it's one of the main modalities that I use. in one-on-ones at retreats. So the story work, quote unquote, method was developed by a gentleman named Mark England. You can find him on YouTube. He's got TEDx talk. Great dude. Great dude. I've started training with him, I think like 7 years ago in his second ever cert. And so I've gone through his whole path. But really, to say it super simply, what he'll say is like, if you looked in the dictionary and you looked up the definition of mindset, you would find, I forget, like you could find hundreds of different definitions of how people would define mindset, right? And the simplest way to define mindset that I really love that he coined is our mindset is simply the stories that we tell ourselves. And the building blocks of any story is words.
Mm.
So words carry meaning. They'll affect our imagination. They'll affect our feelings and sensations. They'll affect our breathing. They'll affect the state of our nervous system. And so what we do with story work, and it's a specific like format, like you can use it with anything. You can story work challenging stuff from the past, celebration stories, goal setting, identity work, a problem you can't figure out. And the story work method is to really utilize the written word. So we do a lot of writing and Google Docs, because what we see is with most people's story, like most people's stories and patterns are running on loop. They're repetitive and they're stuck and they're moving 100 miles in the head. So as soon as we get the story out of the head onto paper, it now has a layer of separation. And I don't know any way to quote heal from anything that we can't separate from. So what we're doing is we're using the story not to reinforce it, but to actually develop a new relationship to it, to downregulate it around it, to maybe see it from a slightly different perspective, not to bypass it. But as soon as we get it out of the head onto paper, it immediately starts having a little less power over us. And then in the method, it's like really simple. I can just high level, share it. This is like 80% of it. And what I also love about Mark, truthfully, is like, there's nothing to hide. Like, take what I'm saying right now, use it. Like, it'll serve you so well. It's what I do almost every morning. And I like truly share. It's open source. Like, there's no, like, totally open source. So you take any story, you title that story. So let's say, I don't know, you got bit by a dog when you were young and that really impacted you. So you would just title it like Dog Bite or whatever that story is. You title it as if you're titling the name of a movie. And then you write it out conversationally, like how you're actually telling the story. The key is complete sentences, use punctuation, how you would actually speak conversationally to someone. So no bullets, none of that. That's step one. Okay, so you write out the story and just that. Like I'll have guys do all sorts of writing, like writing a letter to fear, writing a letter, to something that they have shame about. Like, again, going back to one of the biggest challenges I see in men is the amount of emotional intensity they have inside, and they don't know what to do with it. So just that could be profound for a guy. And then step two, usually there's a check-in, like what came up and some like, what'd you feel? Where was it? What's the intensity? So there's a check-in. And then the next step is, so they've written it down. The next is they read it out loud. So they get to express it verbally and then be witnessed in that expression. There's a check-in after that. And then we slow the story down, because these stories usually, like especially in difficult parts of the stories, like our speed, cadence, like our body language will shift. And so as a facilitator, I'm just noticing what's happening. But after, on the third step, we slow it down. So we slow down the rate of speech and create a pattern break that's about 30% less than the normal rate of speech. And all of a sudden, usually more things start emerging. And when we slow it down, because in those moments, in the painful memories, from my experience, usually like part of us freezes. Our breathing stops, or we hold, or whatever flight, fight, freeze facade pattern we had. But we could be like frozen in that. And so this is a very like gradual process of slowing down, getting intimately connected with the story. And then what we see is on the third read, when they read it slow, you'll start seeing the breath start to descend, and safety, usually, like stuff could certainly come up and that's fine. It's all a part of it. But you'll start seeing like safety start being created around the story in some senses, because they're breathing. Like, I don't know how to change any story if the breath, as Mark would say, if the breath is locked up high, tight, shallow, and we're clenching. And then the fourth step is now we read it slow again. And then at the end of every sentence, sometimes there's a bit more skill in it, but we had a full, like, and then a full total body exhale. And we do that for every single sentence or sometimes specific words. And then the last 20% of it usually takes some skill to do some of the translation work, but that's 80% of it. And usually what we've done is, again, we've gotten it out of our head on, we put in the big scary monster that lives in here and fucking put it out there.
Mm.
And again, then we rep it out. We rep it out. Then we read it slow. Then we read it with the breath. And then there's check-ins with it. And it's such a, what I really appreciate about it. And the more coaching that I do and the more experience I get, I still tell Mark, because I train him physically. So I've been coaching him for over 2 years for his movement stuff. So I see him once, twice a week virtually. And I keep reminding him, like, dude, I don't know how you did it, but like, fuck, this is good. Like, because it's so simple. The
Mhm.
main thing, and I'm not doing much. I'm holding space. I'm like driving the process, but it's your words. I
Mhm.
ain't telling you at all what I think, what to do. I ain't diagnosing. I'm just being loving presence for you and driving your own process to be reacquainted with the story in potentially a different way. Um, so that is high level. I know I kind of went long on that, but high level. And then if someone was listening and wanted to do it, like, and do it, like it's
Yeah.
amazing, simple.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is amazing. It's like my personal experience of it is like slowing it down brought to the surface, like yes, the energetics, the intensity behind the story, and it also brought up sometimes spontaneously like
Mm-hmm.
flashbacks to other things that were associated with that story
Mm-hmm.
or like a somatic flashback like you were saying of like my breath being becoming more shallow or like me feeling a certain activation in some part of my body and then focusing on that and breathing into that and releasing it and you like holding the space like the at its core I feel that like the most therapeutic thing that we get to experience is being witnessed by a loving presence. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's like Mike, you said like I'm not really doing anything, and I get what you mean, but also like your loving presence, like what we observe shifts. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're observing with a loving presence, and then also I'm doing my own work, like that's like us transmuting it together, alchemizing it. And so I feel like that's, I mean, I know there's that piece of it, and then there's the breathing and releasing the energetics of it, and slowing down and really witnessing yourself. Like there's so many elements that it's so simple, and yet there's like these elements that are so powerful in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Like even when I've had people, and I still do have people like Mark's guiding me through story work for some of the really heavy stuff. And it's like my own judgments of myself. Like I'll say something that happened that I'm maybe ashamed of, a lot of shame around. And then like this motherfucker's still like right there with me, locked in, breathing with me. And like,
Uh-huh.
like Mark would say, like, I'm judging you, just not the way you think. Like,
Mm.
damn, like whether it's inspiration or the connection to his heart. And so yeah, you're right. Um, it's simple and it is deep. Like that the being witness, and that's in the men's retreats. It's like that's I always thought it was gonna be, and when I was doing participating in retreats, it was gonna be me sharing that was the primarily of the healing happening. And yes, and huge and like witnessing other guys, I'm like, whoa, like what that unlocks in me.
Yeah.
So I feel what you're saying, and I love that.
Yeah. Really good stuff. Awesome. Well, Lindsay, did you have anything else?
No, I'm really enjoying this conversation.
I know it's so good.
Yes,
Love
yes.
it.
Where can people find you, Mike?
Um, so best place would be, so my website is mikesalemi.io, not .com. And then Instagram is just my name, mike.salemi.
Mhm.
And then YouTube, I think, is just my name too. So Mike Salemi. Oh, podcast is called, if anyone's interested, The King Within. Um, and so that's up, but website would be the best, or Instagram is also great too.
Mhm.
Cool. Yeah, go check him out. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Well, let's call it a beautiful episode and wish everybody the best out there. Thank y'all for listening and much love to y'all. We'll see you soon. Bye,
And
guys.
thank you, Mike. Thank you
Yeah.
for
Thank,
joining
Yeah,
oh,
us.
thank you, Mike.
thank you,
Yes.
ladies. Like, I'm so excited, and yeah, it's been a real pleasure. And I'm so glad I get to meet you, Lindsay, now, and Elite. Yeah,
Yeah, good
super
stuff.
fire. This has been so fun. So thank you.
You're welcome.